when the lane moving fast. Hey, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Hey.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. This is your first time tuning in. Welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Friday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys here today. This is one of those rare times where, like, I don't know if 30 minutes is going to be enough. Like, we've just met for the first time a couple of days ago. We talked, and we were both like, this is going to be electric. And, you know, today's topic is all about automation, AI, freight tech, like what happens afterwards, and demystifying this entire thing that's out there and the opportunity that's in front of us. So I have my friend Chris Wyndham, CEO of Revenova, on the show today. Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to join me this morning.
Oh, good morning, Chris. Thanks for having me, man. Listen, you almost caught me in an awkward moment. Your intro music, man, I was out here bobbing and weaving with it, man. So I'm glad you had a little bit of intro so y'all didn't catch me dancing before you popped this thing up, man. It's going to be great this morning.
Yeah, man, it took us probably 3 years to find the right intro music. Like we switched out a couple of times, and then in true business, I got a copyright infringement against me with this song because I bought the wrong license. And I worked with the company though, and they're like, all right, it was an honest mistake. We're good. Like we're fine. It just took a little bit more money. And that's, that's kind of one of those things that I realize the older I get, money solves a lot of issues.
Oh, listen, man, it cures a lot of ills. Well, I tell you, that's the right intro, man. Don't change it. It had me pumped up. Let's go.
Man, well, so new CEO at Revenova, but not new to the tech space, right? Like you built your career off of this stuff. So like what brought you up to this point, Chris?
Man, yeah, thank you for that. Look, 25 years of evolution. I think in my infancy in business, man, and I started my adult life, I was in the retail industry. In fact, I was running car lots, and I first started embracing technology when home computers were just becoming a thing and everybody had access to the internet. And I was seeing there was this opportunity for this great equalizer to be able to use the internet and technology to get the products I had for sale out in front of consumers. I could not afford to be on the four-way stop sign that everybody wants to be in every big city or town. I couldn't do that. So we were out on a gravel lot and we had to draw people to us. And we learned pretty quickly that being an operator who could build purpose-driven technology helped and aided our business. And then there was others who would invest and do the same. And over the last 25 years, that's just become a passion of mine, is being able to get tools in the hands of people in industries who need it the most and being really close to the operators who benefit from the solutions the most. So yeah, that's brought us here today. And look, I've joined Revenova 6 weeks ago, and I cannot tell you how much of a personal blessing that is to align with a group of people that have the same shared passion and love this particular industry of transportation and logistics.
You know, it's one of those, for me personally, like, transportation is a family affair for me, right? Like my family's been in trucking for almost 100 years now. And I know that is the stickiness factor that draws a lot of people into this industry and keeps them in it. But, I look at with where, things are right now with technology and the opportunities, like, talking about the great equalizer that's out there. I just think that there is such a massive opportunity sitting in front of us now with small business. And, because like, that's what, I think like a lot of the headlines out in any industry, let alone in transportation, are shared by, the mega brokers and the mega carriers. And, they're great and all, but like 95% of this industry is small business. That's and it's almost like $1 trillion industry, right? So it's like that with where we are now and, and kind of talking about our topic of conversation today is it's like, we have a very unique time now, Chris, where you can be a 1 or 2 person operation and you can pack as big of a punch as a former 100-person organization.
Absolutely. No doubt. Could not agree with you more. So let's talk about all spectrums of that, right? Yeah. If you are one of those large freight companies many people under your employ a mega center. That's phenomenal. There's a need for that. If you find yourself in that same situation in fleet, that's wonderful. But for if what has been your protection is your size and your scale, you still have an opportunity in this window to keep yourself relevant. You still have an opportunity in this environment by properly utilizing technology to continue your businesses going forward. But for those who are on the scale of the 95% that are really making this thing tick, that are really pushing it forward, you've got an opportunity or a window to really maximize in a margin compressed environment. We know that's the reality, to make yourself markedly more efficient, to make yourself being able to invest the quality time of your greatest asset, which is your employees, not on the mundane things that are simply maintaining your business, but the really life-giving things that grow it, like customer relationship and being able to have direct communication and conversation for those that you are trying to get more and more business from. Man, this technology is going to allow for that. An acceptance of it, you're going to accelerate. A rejection of it, there's a real risk for attrition, because you called out that there's a window of opportunity, but we're really not at the beginning of it. That window is wide open, and it will shut behind us quickly if we don't evolve.
Yeah, I look at where things are as a whole right now, and I think the desire for everybody to move their goods faster, cheaper, more efficient is only going to increase, right? And I look at it where it's like, I mean, profit margins are slim in most industries, but if we're sitting here talking about trucking, and it's like in brokerage, the average is like 15% out there. I look at where things are going. I don't know if that's going to be the reality for much longer. I think it's going to be sub 10. And again, this is directly affecting my business, but I'm trying to look downstream here a little bit. But I think with what you will see is that you're going to be able to make that up, and like not needing as many people to do that job anymore, right? Where it used to take 5 to 7 people to do a task, you're going to be able to get it done with 2 now. So it's like, I think it's going to offset at some capacity. And again, and this is why I think like the smaller operations and the mid-size operations that are out here, you have I think small businesses have the upper hand here, Chris, and they don't even realize it, because like you can grow and scale, and now you can do more with your current headcount, right? Where it's like you can increase your profit margins, you can build that war chest of capital and all of that.
Yeah, so I think you bring up things that really, in my mind, triggers 2 thoughts. One, sometimes there is a fear to adopt or embrace technology, AI, automation, because like you said, you're going to become more efficient. And what 7 people once did now becomes 2. There's this fear that means now 5 people are now unemployed. But that's truly not the case. What it is you're freeing up the time, effort, and energy, the passions of those 5 people to be reinvested back into your business, not in the mundane task of maintaining it, right? Not in the paper pushing, not in the manual entry, not in the just human in the loop that is requiring look, time is limited. It's finite, right? And if we're out there busting our humps 50, 60 hours a week, I don't know about the 40-hour work week. I haven't seen one of those in a million years. But hey, when there's these opportunities and we know that time is finite, it enables those 5 people that were once doing the things that were so task-oriented to now become investors in the business, to be able to drive it forward. Because as margins compress, velocity must increase.
Yeah.
So if I'm making less per load, I got to be doing more loads, right? And we don't do more loads by asking our people to do more with less resources. So if we look at technology, if we look at AI, if we look at the ability to automate repeatable tasks and one time create a system that can repeat that for us over and over again, and human hand doesn't have to replicate it, man, now we can reinvest that human capital in things that are actually much, much more profitable.
What's one thing that people are overhyping about with where technology and AI is? And then what are they like overlooking as well at the same time?
I think there's an overhyping of that it's a magic wand, and it's not, but it is a powerful tool. And I think what the underestimation is that we can slap AI on it and it'll cure a lot of inefficiency ills. In fact, it'll magnify broken systems. So I think for all of us, it forces us to look at the evergreen principles of what's a good business structure, what it actually makes for a scalable business, and then allowing that AI to perpetuate that for us, allowing those tools to automate those things for us. But it doesn't give us a free pass on inefficiencies or ill-ran or ill-equipped businesses. It's not a cure-all, but it is a great magnifier of the good we do. And it's a great accelerator once we really hone in our processes to be really efficient, and it's supportive of it.
Chris, do you think that this is going to be a net benefit overall in the long run for companies? Because like that, like I look at it with automation, and you brought up processes. As somebody who's building a company from scratch, I have openly talked about the hardest part about business to me is system development, because you don't know if it's going to work in 90 days, right? Like everything sounds great in a controlled boardroom with whiteboard sessions, and we're going to go get so many customers from it. But then the application of it takes time to really rear itself. Do you think that this is going to? Because like I look at it where it's like, if we're going to automate and you're automating bad processes, like you're going to potentially sink your ship really quick, because you're going to be exposed. There's no more hiding any of that. And that's why, to me, it's like, I'm the most excited about this. Like it is a great equalizer. It's going to give those smaller businesses, those really efficient businesses, that's right, you're going to be able to amplify your outreach. Now you're going to be exposed in the right way at a very high level.
100%. When you are a very small business and you're dependent on efficiency, you actually have tighter systems than some of the giants. Mm-hmm. And man, the replication of that, the velocity of that, an extra X number of loads that you're able to win because you now have technology that's pushing forward all the things you've already learned, man, that's a competitive advantage. Yep. Size can be a protector, but it can also be a target. Yep. And if what we're going out there to target is to get a little bit from each of those who are the giants in the industry, and it makes us that much more profitable, it's life-changing. So I would say it's not just going to be a net benefit, it's a net necessity. The rejection of it is going to lead to an attrition that might be slow or it might be rapid. So it's necessary that all businesses, regardless of their size and scale, start to adopt, start to embrace. You and I talked on Tuesday, kind of in our run-up, just two guys sitting around a table chatting, right? Which was a blessing, by the way. I've thought so much about that conversation. And one of the biggest takeaways I've had that I think we need to touch on today is the net benefit that comes from embracing, this is the good that I do. I can utilize technology to free up my human capital, go out there and create new velocity for me. But I've tried some of these things before and they failed. Or we've stepped our toe into it before, and man, the change management was so intense that we didn't get the return on the investment quickly enough, and we abandoned ship. Here's my word of encouragement to you. Most times on the other side of making that investment, they fail because we don't fully adopt all the benefits that exist within it, and we quickly revert back to what we've always known. And we don't allow the technology to now develop new, better systems for us. We try to force the technology to support the systems that we've long wished we can improve on, even if it's to 1 degree and in some cases 10 degrees. So, you asked me the question of why sometimes is the ROI not directly measurable, or why sometimes is the pain management not worth it to make this transition in my business is something that in my head and heart, I know I need to do, but there may be a little bit of a fear factor and there may be former past scars. I talk to my team about that a ton. And that's why the human in the loop will never go away. Mm-hmm. I've got a team of people who have unbelievable software at their disposal that can truly impact freight brokers, can truly impact fleet operators, can truly impact this industry. They know that and believe it to their core. But if I just give you that technology and say, hey, go make the best of it on your own, it'll sit there on the shelf underutilized and you'll never know how to take advantage of it. You need people like those that I employ to say, here's how you use this best from a consultative standpoint to the betterment of your business. And that's the responsibility that we have to the industry. We don't do that perfectly, but we seek to do it well. And I think if you're an owner operator wondering how might you use technology to improve your freight company, know that it's your obligation and responsibility as a caregiver of the business to provide an environment to where you'll embrace the technology, but then resource it in a way that we all know how to understand the tool until we master it.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack with what you're talking about there, because I think like that ultimately it's the fear of the unknown, Chris, that stops most people from implementing technology. And they, a lot of people They've been working with the same customers for 15 years now. They've built their business up to where they want it to be, right? Like maybe they want to go a little bit bigger, but like ultimately they got it where they want to be. And I think at times you're like the fear of the unknown is what's stopping people. And I think that's what AI has done for most people right now, right? Because I think like if you go back in history, you look at the Industrial Revolution, the automobile, everything that was developed, there was a point in time where the entire workforce leading up to that point was kind of like where we are right now in yes, AI's here, but we're still kind of at a pre-AI phase. Nobody's seen downstream about what could happen after the implementation of it. And I think a lot of people who are working with the same customers or working with the same carriers, they don't think it's going to come down to their desk. And again, I don't like to fearmonger, but I'm like, I think it's going to be here a lot faster than most people think. And, it's like choosing the right tech partners who are open and honest about where things are is, I think, the biggest net positive you can do for your business, because there's a lot of marketing dollars that are thrown out there right now in the freight tech world. And there's a lot of stuff that's being promised out there. And again, I'm not here to say it's true or untrue, but I'm just here to say, like, you have to understand with where things are going to be, and it's going to come a lot quicker than you want. Unfortunately, I think like what could happen in the next 12 months is going to like utterly shock people. But I look at it from like from the TMS perspective alone, that is the lifeblood of every freight organization that's out there. And I think now you need to start looking not at where your business is, but it's like, where is your business heading, and the importance of choosing the right partners that you don't have to change. If you're a $5 million company right now, that your current tech stack is only good till 10 million, and then they max out, and then you got to implement change management at that level.
Great point. So let me tell you what our responsibility is as a TMS provider. Right. Look, we're not jumping on and doing sales presentations and demos here. I'm just talking to you about what is our responsibility to this industry. Our responsibility, one, is to look internally and not be hypocrites. Yeah. Your business is moving really fast, and you need us to be able to provide tools to you in a way that you maximize the opportunity and the improvements that they can make if we can get them in your hands in a reasonable amount of time. So one of the things that's our responsibility, and I'm challenging our team, and in my early days here, really taking a deep dive look into, is if you have a request that once we can implement it within your software, that it's going to revolutionize your business, or it's going to eliminate a long-standing pain point for you, and it takes us a year and a half to get it to you, that's sustained pain that you have to feel because we're not fully utilizing technology ourselves to be able to deliver it in a much quicker way. So what we do is we look in the mirror and say, how do we use these same things that we preach and know are good for the freight industry? How is it good for us as a TMS provider? So we're taking really tangible steps to streamline our processes, the way that we develop technology, the way that we QA that technology prior to putting it into your hands, the way that we deploy it and disseminate its benefits so everybody fully knows and understands how to use it. We're taking a very sobering look on how we can do that better, but we wake up every morning and go to bed every night with that as being our mission statement, is how do we make sure we get the proper tools in your hands to be able to grow your businesses and get them to you in a measured but urgent way so you get the maximum amount of benefit. So we have to ask ourselves the same questions that you have to ask yourselves. And for us, I love the fact that I've got so many industry experts, third generation people that I talk with virtually that are Revenovans, and I get to walk the halls with when I'm up in Chicago. Man, they love this industry. They love technology, but they love the benefits of it. And they recognize that it's gotten us to a really sweet spot today to be industry trusted, but we have a responsibility to be future-proofing your businesses by making sure that we deliver the things that you need in a timely way, in a more efficient way, so we're not hypocrites. In fact, we're adopters of the very things that we're preaching. We haven't always done that perfectly, but we're doing it voraciously right now and looking to see how can we continue to improve in that way. So I don't want anybody to think that we sit on this pedestal of perfection and we're preaching down to you saying, hey, you need to do this or else. We're saying we're evolving with you rapidly.
Yeah.
And honestly, the barrier of entry as a TMS provider is far greater than the barrier of entry as it is for a freight carrier, right? So if anybody could sit back and rest on their laurels, we could, and we are absolutely not. because it would be the detriment to our business and it would be the detriment to those that we serve, our customers. So I think that we have a shared responsibility in it. So, man, I don't want this to be a long-winded response, but I was at the Mid-Atlantic Truck Show this week. Man, what a wonderful opportunity to see all these family businesses that have sustained generationally and even thrived generationally doing people's work in just such a caring and just fruitful way. I mean, I've just been so blessed by those that I've met in the industry. But every one of them, regardless of their size and scale, I've looked them in the face and shook their hand and say, I'll make two promises to you. One, our yes will be yes and our no will be no. If we fully understand how to embrace this, we're going to tell you we do, and here's our recommendation how. And if we don't believe we should embrace it or we don't fully understand it, we're going to tell you that, and we'll go down that journey together, right? So that's our responsibility. And then the second is, I personally may be the least equipped to be able to help you, but I'm the most equipped to be able to get you the help you need. So as a TMS provider, it's my responsibility to make sure that the people that we employ, as we utilize this technology and I buy back some of their time, that I get and allow them to reinvest it in the face of our customers to serve them better, not to replace them. It's to augment them, not to replace them.
How are you guys as a technology company right now, Chris? How are you guys balancing like product development, product enhancements, in kind of seeing, like the old Wayne Gretzky thing is I saw where the puck was going. Yes. How are you guys doing that and really balancing that out? Because I think like that's got to be a massive hurdle for a lot of tech companies out there is with the rapid pace of adoption and development and everything that goes on out there. Yes. How do you sit there and rest on the fact that what you're developing now is going to be relevant by the time it's ready to be released?
Great question. So if you, we could talk about that all day. So listen, SaaS, so software as a service, has been the great differentiator, right? It's been the explosion. But now SaaS has this challenger out there called AI native. Yeah. So we're looking at AI native solutions within this great infrastructure, this great customer base that we already have and its utilization. So out ahead of us is that we're going to need to be able to deliver innovation quicker. We're going to need to be able to put innovations out into the market more scalable, easier to use, inherently easier to understand right from the first day of adoption, and really in a much more timely way. So for us, we're looking at all of these internal tools and how that they apply to us every single day. Two of the most impactful hires I've made in the first 6 weeks of being here. One of them we actually extended offer yesterday. So this will be an announcement to my team. They don't even know he's coming. But it's an AI software engineer who's specifically going to look at internal tools. Mm-hmm. And here's what I told him his responsibility is. I've gone to some of the finest steakhouses in the country. And I'm talking about steaks you could cut with a fork. But my experience wasn't on how good the steak tastes. It was on how long it took them to get it from their kitchen to my plate.
Yeah.
And man, if that steak was absolutely delicious, but it took you 2.5 hours to get it to me, I just as soon gone to Wendy's on the way and gotten my 2 hours back.
Yeah.
So when I look as a TMS provider, man, if we have the most cutting edge solutions imaginable for you, but it takes us an inordinate amount of time to get them into your hands, the window of the beauty of that has now been passed. And you're just mildly satisfied when I get them into your hands. I think our responsibility is to make sure that we're utilizing technology to get your solutions quicker. Yeah. That's our responsibility. That's the investments we're making. So we got a lot more in common than we do different, both as a AI provider or a SaaS provider and a freight broker.
Do you think everything is going to be based like all technology? This is kind of I'm just shooting from the hip here, Chris.
Sure.
Do you think the entire foundation of how SaaS products have been developed are going to be completely flipped here? Or is like the bones of tech, is that not able to like change because it's already, like whether it's, on a cloud-based system and stuff like that? Or do you see something developing different down the road?
Oh, it's definitely developing, not just down the road, but at the stop sign that we're at right now. Yeah. And I use that analogy of stop sign. It's never going to be a stop sign for us. It's going to be a yield sometimes, but we're not stopping. Like the evolution of technology has gone from on-prem to cloud-based to AI. Let's just embrace it, right? we can look back at our history and say there's been natural evolutions that we've all weathered. This is just the next one.
Yeah.
But those who had really solid, like us, and there are others out there who could say the same with integrity, who have such a solid foundation of the tried and true principles of building great tech in a SaaS environment, are going to be the very ones who build phenomenal technology in the AI environment. Yeah. I mean, you know, a hammer in the hand of a craftsman builds a home. Yeah. A hammer in the hand of a thief breaks into it. Mm-hmm. So the same is going to be true with this technology. When used well, we're going to be able to build a better solution, a more purpose-driven solution, because we're the craftsmen. So for my developers out there who may be saying, how do I receive this information that our CEO is publicly disseminating? It's, we need you, the craftsman, to be really great at these tools so we can provide unbelievable solutions, not technology, to the freight broker world. That's our responsibility. But there are going to be some that misuse it. Yeah. There are going to be some who don't use it well, and actually to the detriment. That's that hammer analogy, right? In the hands of a craftsman, a beautiful home is built. In the hands of a thief, it's broken into. So we want to be the craftsman. We want to make sure that we're harnessing these tools in a way that does nothing but benefit you. And we think that we are far enough along that we can help you understand how you can do the same for your business.
Yeah, I look at with where things are and like tools at your disposal right now. For me personally, it's like, I look at it just like riding a bike when it comes down to AI and like actually starting to use it inside of your business. And I think like we're in a good spot with, depending on if you use Microsoft Office for your email or G Suites or something like that, they all have native AI tools that are in there. And you can start, I would advise everybody just to start toying around with that to build some familiarity, because that literally takes it off the pedestal that simple-minded folks like myself, when you're presented with technology, you're like, whoa, what does this even mean? Because there's a bunch of analogies that are thrown at you. And then I think most people push it off because they're like, I don't even know what does that word even mean? So it's like, for me, it's like getting in there and, like I use Gemini all day long, like all day long. It's amazing. In my entire opinion about the capabilities of where AI is today, but like most importantly, what it's going to look like in 6 months, have flipped in like the last 90 days because I've seen how much it has improved in that time frame that I've been using it every day, Chris. And I'm like, all right, this isn't as complex as a lot of people want to might perceive it as. It's very simple to use. And again, it's like you train it. And I think like kind of like back to our earlier point about your process is like, I've got my AI, whatever you want to call it right now, man, it's scraping data on some of my prospects. It's putting together customer and prospect profiles that are so in depth. I almost feel like I'm sitting in some of their proprietary boardroom meetings about what's going on.
Let's go. Yeah. Listen, there's constraints that technology has always had. How many times have you taken technology and said, man, if I could have talked to the person who built this for mass usage, because there's the nuances that make it so special to me. We've been able to do that because of the platform we're in. It's so configurable that we've been able to address those nuances. AI is going to make it even easier to address the nuances that exist within your business. If we're 90% the same, but 10% nuanced, and the 10% nuance is our secret to the sauce, you don't have to change your recipe. This is going to help you. And man, listen, I know we're running out of time here. I think one of the most beautiful things is we want to talk really practically with people about how to put it into their businesses. That's better had in one-on-one conversation than in mass. But if you invite me back, Chris, I think there's something really compelling that we could do in a follow-up.
Yeah. I thought you were already coming back.
Let's go, man. Thank you. Listen.
No doubt in my mind.
Let's do this. How do you profit in a rebound? I want to end with this, man. This is an industry that's been really suppressed for the last 2 or 3 years, and you've had to be grittier than ever to maintain. There's a rebound that's happening, and that's not just a feeling. It's not just anecdotal. It's empirical. It may not be a sharp and to the right rebound, but there is a J-curve rebound that is happening. We've hit bottom, and we're bouncing back as an industry. That window of opportunity, there's some really special opportunities to be more profitable in that upswing. And man, I'd love for you and I to dive into that with the listener here soon when you have time, because I think it would tie in this conversation to that one really well. So appreciate the grit, appreciate the grind. The rebound's coming.
No, we're doing that, man. I like that a lot, and I think that that's going to be a great segue for us to talk about again. It's like, hey, how do we maximize all those tools? But how does anybody reach out to you, Chris? If they want to find out more about you or what you got going on at Revenova, how do they reach out?
Yeah, please. So you can go to revenova.com and all of our contact information is available there. You can reach out directly to me on LinkedIn if you choose. Look, we're a sponsor of this podcast because we love the work that you're doing. Revenova, we want to be easy to get a hold of, and there's a ton of people who stand on the ready to be able to help you. I'd love to hear from you directly. Teach me the things I don't know. Fill in my blind spots so I can be a better steward of the way that we serve you. But I've got a lot of people much further along in this industry than I am back home that they stand on the ready right now today.
Perfect. Chris, I appreciate that. If you guys can't find Revenova out there for whatever reason, you guys know, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in direct contact with them. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank that show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang, window down, yelling out money, anything. Hey.